January 2024. It's already day 12. And I decided this year I was going to start out working on a temperature blanket and a temperature scarf. I first saw it on Instagram, Red Heart Yarn, and I decided, yeah, that would make a nice project for the year. I'll add on a scarf to it. So I'm going to start the beginnings from January the 1st to the 11th. Usually how I record my time is midday to get the accuracy of it, because that's the color of yarn I will use for that day. And my husband made me a chart. So this is the entire year. So I have one for the blanket and I have one for the scarf. And then we write down the temperatures, because if I don't knit it for that day, I can just catch up. So first off, I went ahead and I cast it on. I'm going to do this because normally that's what I do for my blankets. I'm using size 9 knitting needles and I cast it on 220 stitches. So that's the rough estimate of how I do my blankets and how long and wide I want it. You can do whatever you want for it. It's a very simple garter stitch blanket, so therefore it's up to you how you want to do it. All right, so for the temperature, let's go ahead and go to the knitting screen. I have different variations of colors for the change up of every day of the yarn. This is only a small portion of the color selection. This is a small portion of the color selection. I have a separate bag for the blanket and I have a separate bag for the scarf. All right. The first temperature in was 38 Fahrenheit. So I look at my temperature list. Let's see. So 38. So I'm going to use what I chose for my color combination. It's a little light right now, but it's actually a little darker. Is sapphire. So we're going to start that out. So what I'm going to do is for each day, I'm going to knit 2 rows. This is my first row, and I'm just going to knit all the way across because it's a garter stitch. Just knitting all the way across. Okay. All right, so I'm approaching near the end of my row of this color for day 1 of my temperature as we knit the blanket, row 1. All right, so for that same particular day, whatever the temperature was, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to knit another row. So I'm knitting 2 rows per day of the one color and then swapping colors for the next day. So I'm going to go ahead and knit 1 more row of this color, and then we're going to add on for the next day. Just knit all the way across in the same color. Knit all the way across. And it gives you a little more color detail. So I'm approaching the end of my row, and that's when I'm going to switch colors. I'm going to check on my sheet for what temperature was for January the 2nd. So I just worked on January the 1st temperature for my color that I used, and I did 2 rows of a garter stitch, and this is for my blanket. Okay. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to leave this tail on because I can just move it up, tuck it up, because I don't want to have a lot of cut yarns and then weaving in. So if I can do that, that's another tip and tricks on knitting when you're using different yarn colors throughout the small portion of your rows. So I'm adding on my second color for January the 2nd, and I'm going to knit 2 rows of that. I'm going to knit 2 rows, just knit all the way across and then back again. So we're just doing a garter stitch, and all it is just knitting the entire row and just paying attention to the temperature and the color chart. So I'm going to knit another row for day 2. Just knitting all the way across. So I'm coming close to the end, which means that was my 2 rows for January the 2nd. And then I'm going to change up the row color again, depending on the temperature for the January 3rd. And I'll just leave this yarn attached in case I need to use it again, so I don't have so many cut yarns and weaving in ends. Okay. Now I'm just going to secure my knot even more. I do that securing it a little afterwards because what happens is sometimes the knot is a little loose and then I have to retake it out and redo it again. I don't want that stitch loose. So January the 1st, January the 2nd. All right, let's see what our temperature is for January the 3rd. So we are going to be using a dark teal. All right. This is the color choices that I have chosen. So next we're going to use a dark teal. This is day 3, January 2024. Okay. And I'm just going to move this up. I'm going to add this on. We're going to knit 2 rows for day 3. All right, and then I'm going to knit all the way across, and then I'm going to knit back. You can see where you can see the bumps where I'm adding the yarn. So knitting across and knitting back will make it cleaner, a cleaner look, instead of having the little bubbles of where it's showing that I changed the yarn. And there you have a nice color combination. Flat garter stitch as you're adding on your yarn. So you just knit all the way across and then you knit back again with this particular color for day 3. So we're coming near the end of the row for the 3rd day, and we're just going to go back again, knitting all the way across. Just going to go ahead and knit all the way across, and then if my yarn needs changing, I'll change it up. This is the 3rd day, my 3rd row of January 2024. All right, coming to the end of this row for this color. And then we're going to switch it up again, possibly, depending on the temperature. All right. Almost done this row. And then we're going to possibly switch it to another color. Okay. All right. We're on day 4. Now we're going back to sapphire. All right. So we're going to use the sapphire. We're just pulling it up. We're going to knit 2 rows in it. Okay. All right, I'm coming to the end of this row for my 4th day. Now I'm going to go ahead and knit the 2nd row all the way to the end, and then we're going to figure out for the 5th day what color of yarn we're using for the temperature, depending on that day. So continue to knit all the way across. All right, we're at the end of the row, and now we are going to see what other color is next. We're on row 5. We're using sapphire. So we're using the same yarn. So we're on the 5th day. I'm using sapphire for this one. I'm just going to move the other yarn up just in case I want to use it. We're back to using sapphire. Knitting all the way across for 2 rows. So we're going to knit across and then knit again. All right, we're coming near the end of day 5. And then I'm just going to go ahead and knit this color to the end, and then we'll find out what day 6 brings us for the color combination for the temperature for that day. So I'm going to go ahead and just knit all the way across with the same color yarn, knitting the 2nd row of day 5 and knitting all the way across. Knit all the way across. And then we'll be working on day 6 when we get to the end of this row. Right, we're ending at the edging part of it where we add our yarn. We're ending at this row, so now we're going to see what day 6 brings us. So now we're going to use the aqua. Okay, we're on day 6. So I'm going to add the aqua. Day 6, we're adding aqua. Let's add the aqua. Day 6. All right, we're going to knit all the way across. We're on day 6 and we just added the aqua. We're coming near the end, day 6, with the aqua. We're just knitting to the end. And now we're going to knit with the aqua day 6 all the way back. Day 6, knitting all the way back. We're knitting all the way back, and then we'll start on day 7. All right, we're coming at the end of day 6 row. We're just going to move up the other ends of the yarn in case we need to use them again. Just easier than always cutting it and tying knots and weaving in ends. Coming at the end of row 6. Okay. So let me move up this one. Okay. These two should be okay. Move up this one. Okay. All right, so I gotta knot this one. All right. All right, we are at the end of row 6. Okay, day 7, varsity blue. Just picking it up and bringing it up. Move that one up. All right. Day 7, we're knitting all the way across and then we'll bring it back up. And we're just moving our yarn up as we go. Knit all the way across. And it's looking so pretty. All right, I'm just finishing up this row. We changed colors. I'm on day 7, knitting to the end. All right, and now I'm going to knit row 7 back. So we're knitting the same day back. We're doing our days 2 rows at a time. So we're just knitting all the way back. We'll see what other color we're going to use in the process. All right, so we're just knitting all the way down. Okay, that should be good. All right, so we just completed day 7, varsity blue. Now let's work on day 8. So day 8 is also varsity blue, so we don't have to change up the color. We're on day 8. Since we're doing it in 2s, it's a little more than 8 rows. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So we're on row 15. So each day is 2 rows. All right. So we're going to knit all the way across and all the way back. Day 8. We're knitting in 2 rows per day. Coming to the end of the row, we are using varsity blue again. This is day 8, 2 rows per day. I will continue to go all the way across in varsity blue for day 8. So just keep knitting across in your color preference. In this case, I'm varsity blue. So I'm going to knit all the way across to the end and switch up my yarn for day 9, if there is a swap for the yarn. I'm nearing the end of day 7. We're doing 2 rows per day. I left the other yarns on without cutting them so I can just move them up. Let's see here. Okay. 3 more days to go, 2 rows per day. Day 9. We're adding on a forest green. Just adding on day 9. We're adding on the green. Okay, day 9, we're knitting all the way across in the green, and then we'll knit all the way back. 2 rows per day. Knitting all the way across and then back again. Okay, we're coming at the end of the row for day 9 with the green. We're knitting in the green all the way across for day 9, 2 rows per day. Just knit all the way across, and then we'll change colors possibly. We don't know what the day brings for temperature. All right, almost finished day 9. Just knitting to the end. Finishing day 9, color green for our temperature blanket. All right. We're going to knit across in varsity blue for day 10. Knit across day 10. Day 10, we are knitting across in varsity blue all the way across and back again. So day 9, we did green. We are on 10, day 10. We're doing varsity blue. We're almost to the end of day 10. And then we're going to go ahead and continue knitting all the way back for day 10. We're doing 2 rows per day. We're going to knit all the way back in the varsity blue, and then we will start day 11. Just knit all the way across. Day 10, we are using varsity blue, and the row is almost done. I have up to January 11th. Today is January the 12th. So I'm going to knit day 11 for today, and then I will continue on later to knit more days. So this is day 10. Now we are going to work on day 11. Let's see what color is next for day 11. We are using green for day 11. Let's knit across in green. We're knitting all the way across. So we're going to knit across and then knit again, and we will be done day 11. January the 11th for our temperature blanket. I'm just finishing up day 11, January the 11th for my temperature blanket rows, 2 rows per day. I just knit it up to 11 days, January the 1st to January the 11th, 2024. And then I'm going to bring day 11 back, and then I will be done January the 1st to the 11th for my temperature blanket for those days. And then I will continue on day 12 and on to knit more of my year temperature blanket 2024. I'm ending the row for day 11. I just knitted 2 rows of green for the temperature blanket. All right. I knitted January the 1st to January the 11th for the temperature blanket, and these are the colors that it gave me throughout, just going by the temperature per day. All right. Like, subscribe, and watch for more temperature blanket knitting. All right, everyone. Happy knitting and have a wonderful day.